So this is too good not to share. I'm diving into how to help your child or teen start a task. What we're talking about is, gosh, it's really frustrating. We have these bright kids who just never seem to be able to do anything unless we are really cajoling, nagging, we like to call it nurturing, but it gets old after a while. And it's pretty easy to get frustrated with our kids when they just aren't able to start things independently. So, this is all about executive functioning. And if you haven't listened to any of my podcast episodes, or if you're on YouTube, you haven't watched any of those episodes on executive functioning, go back and do that. Executive functioning is critical, right? So, it is that job manager of the brain. It's that part of our brain in our frontal lobes that is the boss. It's the job site manager that says, "Hey, get that concrete going, put this over here." And it interacts with every part of the brain. It's the boss, right? So we can have cognitive intelligence. We can be, you can have an IQ of 140 something, but you're not independently, making your bed or getting your homework done, or how about waking up? Like, you have to wake up. And boy, it's a surprise. I think one of the things that, the people who work with us one to one in our brain behavior reset program, and you can go to drroseanne.com /help and take our solution matcher if you're interested in working one on one. It's a white glove service. We only take just a tiny amount of people every month. So you have to go through our solution matcher if you're interested in working with Dr. Rowe and me. But one of the things that people always tell me is, like, what gets them to this point of frustration is that their kids do seem surprised, right? And I recently had somebody who was a parent of a teen, and they're like, "This kid's smart, they have a solid IQ, it's above average," and yet she just can't seem to get out the door without a full-on poop show every morning where everyone's mad and irritated and angry, and they just feel like they're having Groundhog Day every day, and they're all feel really stuck. And that's what really brought them to me. But remember, everything I do has all these strategies. And that's why and this is one of the most requested things was, how do we get our kids to get started? So on any kind of task, whether it's academic, doing things for sports, doing things at home. So let's talk about what I actually say. And it's important to get, when you're getting advice, you want to go to somebody who's credentialed. Yes, I have health coaching certifications, but I'm a licensed mental health therapist. I am a therapist. I may not be your therapist, but you're getting therapist advice from things that I have done successfully for 30 years with thousands of clients. These are strategies really grounded in science that work. Now, there's no magic wand. Had to have a speak to Jesus yesterday with somebody because they literally were like, "I need the neurofeedback to be magic." And I was like, "Really?" Because I told you that it's not. We have to change behaviors. And so we can't just wish our kids to be, self-starters. We have to cultivate that. We have to reinforce that. And we have to set it up for success. And here's how it starts. Number one, you're going to put your oxygen mask on and you're going to calm yourself down. Calm yourself the hell down. You're not going to be irritated as much as you can. Remember, 80% awesome parenting is expected. Give yourself grace for 20% of mess ups. And you're going to, whether it's calming yourself through breath, whether you're internally reminding yourself that your child isn't out to get you, whatever you need to say to yourself. Because remember, mindset is such a big part of this, right? I'm always amazed at all these individuals that I work with. So many, particularly moms. I definitely have some dads. Had a dad in here this week. Like how we think about things really defines our success, right? We can't wish things away, but if we have a real positive mindset, a problem solving, a detective mindset, that's what I do, man, we can get a lot further. So we have to regulate ourselves first. Don't go in hot to an irritating, situation where your kid's hot, because you're both going to be irritated and boy, you're going to just combust. So start with that. Then we have to have routine and structure. What's your routine and structure? So let go of the idea that your kid's got 112 IQ, a 91 IQ, average IQ, whatever it is, right? We have kids that have normal intelligence, or we have kids that are lower cognitively. You know more than anybody that you have to have routine and structure. So don't just be like, did you do your homework? Right? If that's constantly a problem, what is the structure? It's a pattern that you're doing. And you may hate that you have to do that, because parents are like, I hate that I have to do that because his sister Amy doesn't have to do that at all. Well, we got to meet our kids where they're at and let go of all that stuff, right? That's why you got to calm yourself down. So whether you're doing breath work, you're, doing a heart hug, whatever you're doing, make sure that you're consistently doing it. Put that routine and structure. You're going to set up your environment, right? So this stuff sounds basic, but it's critical, right? Because we need to give the brain as much reinforcement and predictability so that one, we reduce the no's, but also your kids, it's a learning that they know that that's what's going to happen. The predictability is there. You don't use as much brain power and there's more available for the task. So where is that regular homework environment? If them going into their room with their computer means they're going to be playing Minecraft or Fortnite, that's not where it should be, people. Don't just magic is not going to happen. So find a place that's a good place, right? Maybe the kitchen is the best place. Maybe it's the worst place because you've got three other kids, a cat who likes to, sit on them, whatever it is. Maybe the cat is a good thing. It is in our house. Okay. When there's a problem, we have to go to root causes. So, what's the root cause of that problem? Is that there isn't structure? Is it that your child, doesn't understand what needs to be done in that task? Do they really know how to empty a dishwasher? You will say, well, they watch me do it all the time because I'm the only one doing it. No, go over it in a way that, give yourself grace, give them grace, try to be as clear as possible. And when they're saucy and nasty, just be like, wow, I'm talking to you in a respectful tone. I expect the same. Are you ready to do this? And they, if you have a 13-year-old, fine. Whatever it is, just breathe through it and get through it. So what's that root cause? Figure it out and support your child in it. Always acknowledge and validate feelings like, Joey, I know this must be hard for you because when I was learning this, holy cow, I didn't know all these things, whatever it is, cooking dinner, getting started with homework or a particular type of homework, or it's a certain time of day. Yeah. Oh my gosh, your brain must be tired after being in class all the time because, Mrs. Smith, she's a lot, and just create a bonding experience, validate feelings, not just the frustration, but the feelings around it. And then be very clear what your expectations are. So, I expect you to read, my kids are used to this. How long do you think you should be reading? Your kid might say 5 minutes. Your kid might say an hour and like, no, I just need you 30 minutes. How are you going to monitor your 30 minutes? Right. So we want to start asking questions. If they're not capable of that, say, this is the expectation. It's 30 minutes. We're going to use this timer. You're going to be in this part of the room and be clear. Then you're going to help them to break down the task. Always start with the end, right? This is executive functioning. What does it look like when you're done, right? What is that book report where it's summertime here? They're only required to read one book. But of course, we require 5 and in between camps and stuff like that. So what's that expectation? What is that project? They have to do a project, a PowerPoint. What does it look like? How many slides do you think it has to have? What do you think the main point should be, and help them break it down, then work backwards, fill it in. That is key with executive functioning. And if you're looking for more support executive functioning, I created this amazing EF toolkit. You can go to drroseanne.com/EF toolkit. It's actually probably one of our most popular things that we offer, and it's awesome. It's simple, it's very digestible, short. We're breaking down tasks, we're using visual aids whenever we can. So most neurodivergents, most kids with challenges that are affecting them, whether it's anxiety or OCD or PANS, PANDAS, they benefit from visuals. They also benefit from kinesthetic movement, right? But visuals are helpful and cut down on the nag cycle. So what's your routine? What's your structure? Reading 30 minutes. And I don't care if they're 16 or 17 years old. Everything I can do to cut down friction preserves your relationship. It's no fun being in a place with your kids where, maybe you're so afraid of what's going to happen with them. Maybe you're scared, maybe of them because they're volatile, right? And you don't want to, maybe you're just overwhelmed. So visuals can help to lighten the load of these communications and really make it positive. Positive reinforcement should always be part of this. So I think in our world of only done is the right thing, we need to make sure we're reinforcing the attempts as to that end result, as well as the micro wins. It only took them, 10 minutes to get started on their homework, where normally it takes an hour. Like, wow, I noticed a huge difference on, getting started. What do you think was different? And get them to start thinking about it and talking about it. And when you keep it so positive, they're much more willing to dialogue. Their defenses go down. If you have a kid with rejection sensitive dysphoria, they're always feeling things so strongly. You get these big emotional reactions, and these kind of things, positive reinforcements, visuals, as well as offering choices, can make a huge difference. So, let's say when it's chores, okay, here are the chores that I need help with. What did you want? Which, and there's, don't put 20, 3 to 5, on things like that. Which one would you like to get started with today? Really empower kids. Remember, our job is to help our kids become self-regulated, but also independent thinkers. I'm always so disturbed by how unsure young people are, and that, in a place in the world, particularly with young women, but that we want to make our kids like solid decision makers so that they don't put themselves in harm's way. And that really starts at home. And when you offer your kids choices, even kids that aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, you're actually empowering them to be better at starting and completing tasks, but also to really have a clarity when something feels unsafe, and they feel good about standing up for themselves and setting boundaries. As somebody who mentors a lot of young people who come and intern for me, I think every intern I've ever had, I'm like, I'm going to teach you how to set boundaries, because I want you to be safe in all of your levels of where you are out in the world, whether it's at college or you're out on a date or you're in a job. Boundary setting is important, and it starts with good decision making that parents empower them. So lastly, you always want to have patience for yourself and your child, and try to be as flexible as possible. Well, I think we always, expect too much from our kids. Oh, when I was this age, I did this. Yeah, we were in the 80s, we were riding our bike 5 miles away from home. This is not the case anymore. We know too much. And so by being flexible and patient and having great conversations, it really does free things up. And, when you take, these are a lot of steps, but you're working smarter and not harder. So when you make that investment in these kinds of things, what will happen is everything will lighten up. You'll have a more confident and more regulated child. But, know that your kids need 3 times the amount of reinforcement than you think. You're always going to hear me say that, because then it's going to help you to feel less frustrated. So get started on helping your child or teen start tasks, and being much more independent. And when you implement these steps, you're going to see a difference.